What's up, guys? So the latest news that I've been hearing all over the YouTube, all over the home theater channels is that Gravity has now gotten a new re-release on Blu-ray with the Dolby Atmos soundtrack. And that's good news, I guess. I guess the Diamond Deluxe version or the Diamond Lux version that was available is like skyrocketed in price on eBay. The prices for that Diamond Lux edition is like $100 or something if you wanted to pick up Gravity 2D with Atmos. But now you can pick it up for something like 15, $16 on Amazon. I probably should have did this video a long time ago because I've had this thing forever. I've actually got a Remux version of the 3D Gravity on Blu-ray with the Atmos audio. So I think that is absolutely the best way to watch this movie because it was meant to be seen in 3D with Atmos. And this is one of the original titles in Atmos, also with some post-conversion as well. And it's still one of the best Atmos mixes out there. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take a look at the Atmos mix, just the first few minutes, because I think that's like the best part of the movie is the first few minutes. So I'm going to put an overlay on top of the Atmos viewer. If you don't know what the Atmos viewer is, you can find links down below in this video's description that tells you all about it, what it does, and where to get it. So let me just drop this volume down a little bit. This is the opening right now. This is where you're going to get the text. And this has a very dynamic opening. So you get a nice buildup of sound, and then it just, you can hear some sounds pinging across the top channels. Then you get a high crescendo, and then it just stops. Then you get dead as space silence. And you can see that reflected in the Atmos viewer as well. And if you didn't know, the boxes that are green are actually the active speakers. The boxes that are black are the non-active speakers. And the yellow balls that are moving around, that are floating around, those are the sound effects or objects. So if someone is talking, that can be represented as a yellow ball, and it could just be moving around the room. You can follow that sound effect as it travels throughout your home theater. So right now, we have some very faint dialogue coming, and you should be able to track it in the Atmos viewer. It's in the front channels, and you can kind of see those two balls between the left and right, and that's basically just dialogue from the ship that's moving from the right side of the screen over to the center. But let's skip forward to my favorite part in the movie. Now, this is one of the best parts of the movie. Now you've got Sandra on the left side, Clooney on the right side, and you can see how the speakers kind of illuminate while they're talking. And also I can't turn up my subwoofers right now, but there's a very low rumble that just really pressurizes your room. If your subs can go low enough, or if you're listening at a low volume, you get a nice little vibration or low tone every time they take that little drill and they bang it up against whatever this thing they're screwing. You can hear it actually tap on it, and just the room just kind of just like bellow up from the ground up, and it feels like you get hit with a very low rumble of bass. This part's cool because you can hear the other guy actually in the back center surround speaker talking. Same time, while Clooney's on this side, you can slowly see Sandra Bullock's character move all the way from the left speaker all the way to the side surround speakers, which is pretty cool. And we still got the third astronaut talking in the center surround. And this track's all within the Atmos viewer. Now we've got a little switcheroo. We got Clooney on the left side, Bullock on the right side, and that soundtracks perfectly as well. There's more radio stuff going on the left side of the room as well. You can see how the yellow balls and everything is kind of just swirling around up top. Here we've got Houston just kind of just circling around, top speakers all the way up into the top front speakers. I mean, this whole scene, you can hear all the radio, all the people speaking in the radio through the different speakers. You got Houston in the back. We've got Ed Harris's character floating right in the top middle right side of the room here right now. And you can see in the upper speakers where it's kind of flashing on and off, that's where the voices are actually going. Now this whole section here, you've got all the different characters on screen. As the camera's panning, their voices while they're talking, they're moving throughout the front right. Bullock's character goes to the back. You got the radio guys from Houston in the back speakers kind of floating overhead. They're kind of pinging back and forth in the soundstage. Dude gets hit by one of the pieces of debris. You can actually hear it as it went through. It was like, shoo, hits the guy. And all this is all trackable in the Atmos viewer. How you can see all the kind of effects just like floating and circling around the entire room. The cool thing in this scene is here, because she is circling around the room at a pretty fast clip, You can hear Clooney's voice kind of circle between the back and front of the room, just going back and forth. Here we've got a bunch of musical effects kind of just zipping through the top channels right now. But this upcoming shot right here is one of the coolest sounding scenes that I've heard in Atmos, where the camera pans inside of her helmet. It kind of places you inside the helmet so you can hear her breathing, kind of like it's you inside the helmet. You're looking at this at her perspective. The only other movie that I've seen do this, I think, was at the beginning of Power Rangers, where you're inside, I think, Zordon's helmet. So it's kind of the same sensation here. So her voice is actually coming from the top channels, kind of like her voice is in your head. And then you kind of have that feeling, kind of a claustrophobic feeling of being inside this helmet, which is really cool. And if you couldn't tell by now, I mean, this is a very active, it's a very dynamic Atmos mix. Every single one of these speakers is lit up. So if you were wondering if you should do 4 channels, 4 height channels, or 6 height channels, maybe more, I mean, this here has every single one of my speakers lit up. All 6 channels are lit up. You can see objects that are floating throughout the entire soundstage. My center surround speaker was even lit up. The second set of surround speakers are lit up. Everything is happening in this mix. This is top tier Atmos mix. Now, this movie came out in 2013. It is now 2024, and it's still in my top 10 best Atmos mixes of all time. If you want something that has huge dynamic peaks that'll give your subwoofer a serious workout, I mean, you got the beginning, the first few seconds of the movie will give you that alone. If you want to check the timbre matching on all of your speakers and see how well your system is calibrated and if your speakers sound like each other, this movie is great as well because, you know, just like in the demo, you can hear all the various voices of all the characters circle through every single one of the speakers. I mean, you can track that in the Atmos viewer, and if your system is calibrated and spaced out nicely, you should just get a nice seamless blend of vocals and dialogue going through the entire soundstage. So this movie is great for that as well. The only thing that's really missing is, you know, maybe a 4K version would be nice. Although if you do have the 3D version and you pick this movie up on Amazon for about 16 bucks, you have a 3D display, my recommendation is to strip the video from the 3D version, strip the audio from your $16 Blu-ray, put them together, and you have the definitive version of Gravity. 3D with Atmos is the absolute best version. This movie was meant to be seen in 3D. But anyways, that's just my thoughts on Gravity, on the Gravity Atmos mix, and also on the 3D, you know, visuals as well. 10 out of 10 for me. 10 for 3D video if you have that. 10 for the Atmos mix. Question is for you guys, have you heard it? Did you pick up the new re-release of Gravity on Blu-ray, or are you holding out for the 4K, the inevitable 4K version with Atmos? Leave your thoughts down below and let me know. Now, if you do want to pick up this movie, I'll leave some links for it down below in this video's description. Like the video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you again in the next video.